No one can listen to these stories until the end. Before the first story begins, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy watching. 1. Midnight Fast Food Nightmare. In the quiet streets of a small Texas town, a group of 17-year-old friends secretly met up at midnight to escape exam stress and take a short break. Their plan was simple: go to a well-known fast food restaurant nearby, buy a few snacks within their limited budget, and then head home. The night was chilly, and the dimly lit streetlights created a slightly unsettling atmosphere. As they stepped into the restaurant, their attention was drawn to a middle-aged woman sitting alone, unlike the usual bustling crowd. She had a slightly weary expression on her face. At first, her behavior seemed ordinary, but as she placed her order, the old leather bag she carried and the strange tremor in her hands made the friends uneasy. After a brief conversation with the cashier, the woman suddenly stood up and left the restaurant as if she were chasing after something important. Curious about her odd demeanor, the friends watched her through the restaurant window. They saw her walking toward a 7-Eleven across the street, her face marked by a mix of determination and mild panic. At that very moment, the sound of police sirens in the background intensified the tension. Minutes later, police officers entered the restaurant and questioned the group briefly. That night, more than just a fast food order was served. What remained was a chilling memory that changed everything. The event became a long-discussed topic in town, a real nightmare that was etched into their minds as the night went on. 2. In the shadows of the desert, under surveillance. On the vast, desolate roads of southwestern Texas, a family set off for a camping trip. The father, mother, and their 2 children were looking forward to enjoying a weekend getaway near the Guadalupe Mountains. However, as they drove back home late in the evening, they encountered something strange. While their car moved along the long, dusty road with barely any traffic, their cell phone signals suddenly disappeared, and even the navigation system seemed to stop working. A few minutes later, something else caught their attention: a pair of silver sedans following them at a steady distance. At first, they thought it was just a coincidence, maybe another traveler on the same route. But as the minutes passed, they noticed something alarming. The sedans mirrored their every move. They matched their turns, sudden brakes, and speed changes with eerie precision, as if they were calculating the family's every action in advance. The father, now fully alert, continued driving while the children exchanged worried glances in the back seat. The silver headlights remained in the distance, hauntingly consistent. Finally, the family pulled over at a safe spot along the highway and nervously watched through the car windows. To their shock, the sedans suddenly slowed down, stopped for a moment, and then retreated at the same steady pace. The tension in that moment was not just in the sound of the revving engines fading into the night, but in the lingering uncertainty and fear that settled deep inside them. Later, at the nearest gas station, they spoke to the attendant, who revealed that they had received similar complaints before. Police reports confirmed that incidents of vehicles following others on these isolated roads were rare but not unheard of, yet no concrete evidence had ever been found. That night, the family became part of a mystery lurking in the loneliness of the Texas desert, a chilling experience they would never forget. 3. The silent storm of the night at home. In a small Texas town, a respected and kind-hearted family had taken in a homeless teenage girl who had been struggling with mental health issues for a long time. Her real name was uncertain, but in the neighborhood she was known as the Lost Dream. The family had invited her to stay temporarily, offering her warmth and shelter. Initially, she was quiet and reserved, but over time she slowly started opening up. However, one evening, the atmosphere in the house suddenly shifted. After dinner, an inexplicable unease filled the air. The girl unexpectedly left her room and walked into the living room, her face marked by both pain and fear. The other family members noticed her distress, feeling a growing sense of unease. At first it was subtle, but within minutes, her behavior became uncontrollable. In the middle of the living room, she began moving erratically, as if battling an unseen force. Her eyes reflected a deep turmoil, her past traumas surfacing in a violent outburst. The family, frozen in shock, tried to calm her down, but as the unsettling whispers filled the corners of the house and the faint sound of wind echoed through the dark night, the tension only grew stronger. After a few harrowing minutes, the girl collapsed onto the couch, utterly drained, as if she had just endured an internal storm. The next morning, when the family spoke with her, her voice trembled as she tried to describe what had happened. She was immediately directed to receive psychological support, and some neighbors shared stories of similar incidents they had heard before. That night became a haunting memory, a chilling reminder of the unseen battles people fight within themselves. The family's experience left an unforgettable mark on those who heard it, a stark confrontation with the harsh realities of life. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and comment on the video that scared you the most.